Hello and welcome. I'm Susie McEwen, and I'm going to be your host today. I'm joined with Alicia Chandler. Alicia is president of First Franchise Capital, and today we're going to be talking about growth for businesses in 2025. We're going to be covering all aspects, including developing a growth plan, different strategies, measuring success and progress, and overcoming obstacles. And there's going to be a lot more. So, Alicia, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes, thanks for having me and thanks for coming in.
Alicia, this is a great time of year to start off 2025 with business owners. They're kind of off to the races as far as growth. They want to be successful. And this episode timing is perfect. And so with that, how do businesses really start a business plan for the new year?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think every business that is looking to grow and set a plan for the next year really needs to have a comprehensive strategy, amongst the management team so that everyone's aligned. So what we do here at Oak Street is early fall, we get together as a management team and we undertake a SWOT analysis. It's strengths, weaknesses, which are internal, and opportunities and threats, which are external. And what we do is each member of the management team will sit down and just think through that. Where are we for that prior year or that year that we're in? And then looking forward, what do we see those four items being? I know that each manager also even takes the SWOT to their team members. So it's not just a management exercise for us. It is an entire company exercise. So we'll get the feedback from, members of the servicing team, members of the legal team, members of underwriting, and we'll bring that all together. And that's where we start the analysis for, what we're going to do next year, where we're going to grow, how we're going to expand.
So would you say this is also the timing? It's not just about numbers like the budget, but it's also aligning as well as the marketing plans, client retention, employee buy-in. So when a business is ready to start this process, how do they determine what plan they're going to use? And I assume it's not a one-size-fits-all.
It's not. The SWOT has worked well for us for a number of years now, and so we continue to do that. And of course, it is very layered. There are so many different aspects to this. That is just the starting point. So once you get through that, then like you said, then you're talking about the marketing plan. You're talking about different strategies in the verticals. And so again, this is just like the tip of the iceberg. And from that, we develop our overall plan for the coming year.
Awesome. So with me being a business, we talk about organic growth, inorganic growth. Inorganic seems to be the biggest topic. But organic growth is so critical. And what are your thoughts as far as businesses for 2025? How should they look like, or what kind of growth patterns should they have organically versus inorganically? Inorganically, I look at more as acquisitions, but businesses need to focus on really the organic portion of their business.
I think that's right for any business, including us as lenders. I think that you have to look internally and figure out, did we grow year over year? And for someone like a lender, it's your portfolio. And for a franchise owner, it would be just your same store sales year over year. So I think you need to take out the external factor and really just focus on what you have in driving that organic growth. And you can complement that with inorganic growth, but I think it really needs to be looking under the covers to make sure that you really understand what you have and how you can drive that growth internally and organically before taking a look at other things.
No, that sounds great. I'm sure our listeners are really enjoying what you're saying and understand. And like I said, it's not a one size fits all. But as far as strategies for 2025, do you have any recommendations for businesses, what they should be focused on for this year in particular? There's going to be possible tax changes. There could be market volatility, but any particular strategies?
I think for this year, I feel like mergers and acquisitions are going to be increasing. It feels like the fourth quarter and now heading into this first quarter of the year, it's really been, I think, a hot topic, and we've seen an increase in applications. What I would say is, while it's the hot topic of the minute, my recommendation is always to stay true to yourself. And you, again, focus on making sure that your house is clean and that you have everything in order before you undertake M&A or any, I'll say, additional or external opportunities. And so that's something we always preach, is just making sure that your house is in order. And that goes for us too as a lender, making sure that we have everything together. And then if we're going to embark on any new strategies for the next year, we're able to do that after taking a true look at ourselves.
So I would say that when they're working on these strategy plans, these growth plans, they should also look at their team, their outside team. They may have information that they can share to help them with their growth plans as well. Would that be fair to say?
I think it is. And it's also helpful for an entity or a company to get a third party's perspective. And so by engaging a third party professional, whether it's a consultant that specifies in the industry or specializes in the industry, or an accounting firm or somebody else that really can sit down with the company and take a look at the books and records and maybe help see things that you're not seeing yourself, any blind spots. Sometimes I think, for instance, you could just be so driven by growth that there's something in the blind spot you overlooked, and a third party is somebody that's going to be able to help you maybe see what that is and overcome that if it's an obstacle.
I would see also too that situation is going to require that the owner or the majority owner is going to have buy-in, obviously, from their partners and employees as well. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think every industry is different, right? So think about a franchise owner. They are more concerned about inflation in prices and cost of goods. And so their strategy is going to be completely different from maybe an RIA or an insurance capacity or advisor, where they're thinking about things like retaining their client. Yes, the franchise owner is going to be thinking about retaining their customers as well. But again, they have these other things that are going to impact their analysis that, inflation, again, that's just something that they don't have control over. So how are they going to react to the market?
So we mentioned about the kind of a buy-in. We got employees that can be salary, they can be hourly, they can be commission. So that buy-in of alignment with the plan is so critical. How do you do that with your employees to make sure everybody's kind of marching to the same beat of the drum? You've got this plan, you're rolling it out, but everybody's at different levels.
Again, we involve our team from the very beginning. So they have a say in the SWOT, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, to give their input. And once we get together as a management team and we figure all this out, again, this is not an instantaneous process. It takes quite a number of meetings. It involves things on the window with whiteboards and people writing down ideas. And then it comes together in right now, our 2025 strategic plan book that we've put together. And that's where we hand that out to all the employees. And we talk about, here is where we're focused for 2025. Here's what we need to do to win more clients, to bring in more loans, to distinguish ourselves from the competition, and to how to be the best of the best for this and the various industries that we serve. So again, we're very open and transparent with the people that we have here. We seek their feedback. We provide them with the results. We're always asking people, if they want to be a participant in the various strategic projects that we do throughout the year, which then ties directly into our strategic plan. So again, I think it's being open and honest and just giving everyone a chance to voice their opinion and be a part of the plan or the solution.
So communication is very critical to the whole process and also through the entire year as well. I'm assuming that you keep communicating to everyone as far as progress and successes and celebrate those successes as well.
We do. We meet monthly as a team to see where we are on the various strategies throughout the year, and we provide updates to the company on a monthly basis at a minimum in our corporate updates. If there are any developments or anything of note, we'll make an announcement to the team or the company as a whole. And so again, we're very transparent about everything in this company and want everybody to understand where we are. If we have a hiccup in one of our strategic plans or projects, we'll let everyone know. We'll seek input and feedback. And so it's not something that's set in stone. It's something that's constantly evolving throughout the year.
Well, we ran into in 2020 with COVID, and then in 2022 with the stock market being impacted negatively, businesses had to pivot. And so you have those external factors that can cause a little bit of, just having to make changes. So what would you say to a business if they're running into obstacles such as market volatility, tax changes, that they're on a plan, but then they have to make a change? What are your thoughts in basically what happened several years ago? How did we end up making those changes?
So it's a good question, Susie. I think looking back and now looking forward, especially working in a bank that's a regulated environment, you always have to have contingency plans. You always have to be prepared for the what ifs. So I know we've talked to so many advisors in the RIA space and agents and franchise owners that now that we've been through that type of, I'll say, interruption of such a grand scale, everybody's always thinking, what's the next shoe that's going to drop? What do I need to be prepared for? And now I feel like people have really taken it to heart and really are drafting or have drafted, hopefully, their contingency plan. So what if we go on have another pandemic? What if the stock market crashes? What if, XYZ happens? I feel like everyone needs to be prepared for any contingency, just like you would if there was a pipe that burst in your building and your whole office couldn't come in for a day. So, again, anything's possible. So I say, work on your contingency plan if you don't have one in place, and make sure your team's aware. It definitely needs to be something that's written out and shared with the team so that everyone's on the same page should the instance arise.
Well, then I'll add a couple of comments, because I think in the growth plan, it should also include constantly thinking about succession. And, like you mentioned, the continuity plan, because a lot of businesses out there, they just wait till the last minute to incorporate that. And then that, unfortunately, causes problems for growth. So switching gears a little bit, technology. So that's a great useful tool for strategy. What are your thoughts on that as far as adding technology, artificial intelligence into the business plan, the growth plan for 2025?
So I will admit I'm definitely not a technology expert. But what I can say is that we do have a proprietary system called Bridge, and it's been our operating system since 2003. And we are continuously updating that software. We are upgrading it. We even have as part of our strategic plan, we have a 3-year roadmap. And so we're always looking at ways to update that. And in that system itself, there is some AI that's already been, I think, built into that over time. And now, since AI is the hot topic, that is definitely something that we are looking at from a bank perspective on what are the appropriate uses for AI in our industry. And I think the other industries that we work with franchise, how can AI help them to become more efficient, to avoid maybe some of the pressures of inflation, the shortage of talent? So again, how can you use AI to help overcome some of the efficiency problems, the staffing shortages? So I think it goes across every single industry that you could even think about. But it's something that people have to embrace, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to keep up with the competitor that's going to figure out a way to use it.
So, Alicia, we know that there's a talent shortage out there, and businesses are really struggling with finding help. I'm not sure where all these people are, but there are positions out there that need to be filled. So how can businesses invest with employees that come on board in the very beginning to keep them engaged and grow with the company. And I think that's so important right now. And that is got to be part of that business growth plan.
Yeah. And Susie, we hear that in all of the lines of business, right? And it's how do you attract that talent? And you don't want to just attract someone by throwing money at them. We all want employees that are going to come in and be with you for the long term. And in order to do that, like you were talking about, you have to invest in the employee themselves. When we bring on new employees, depending on what department they're in, they have various training strategies that they implement. But I think it's really taking that employee and saying, look, first of all, here's what we do. It's pretty unique. And so, there is a learning curve. And I think it's being able to explain exactly what we do, how we do it, and why we do it. The why is always important, at least to me, why we do something. And so I think that's a key, is really to help people to understand why that matters. And then I think the next thing is developing that individual. What are their goals? Do they want to move up in a different position? Do they want to move from servicing to underwriting? Do they want to move into sales? And so really it's about understanding and asking those employees. In our case, we do quarterly reviews and annual reviews. Some people do it more often than that. But it's really having honest conversations with people about what they're looking for. I think ultimately you really just want to invest in people and understand what their goals are. And unless you do that, they're just going to come in every day and get a paycheck. That's not what you want. That's not what they want. It really is a mutual, are we a good fit for each other? And you can't do that without an honest conversation.
And I think I've heard Rick Denon, our CEO, say, the people, that is what makes business. And they're the most important part. We don't have the talent, the employees. It's hard to be successful. Alicia, as far as a business and their business plan, their strategic plan, how should they actually measure success and progress? Are there reports or meetings?
Too many meetings, maybe. I think and we've used this specific tool for years, as we have a corporate scorecard, and it is something that we've developed, and it changes. It changes all the time, every year, depending on, again, what the corporate strategy is. Little tweaks to specific areas. But we have a corporate scorecard that we use to measure ourselves against. We put it together at the end of the year, and we start using it in January. And so as soon as this month is over, we're going to get our scorecard and measure against where we had projected that we're going to be. And so it's a fantastic tool to keep ourselves accountable and to really look forward and see, where we think we're going, if we're actually going to get there by the end of the year. And so I think it's a really neat tool. I know that our parent company also uses a corporate scorecard on the bank level. And so it's been a really nice tool that one of our prior employees that helped us with our corporate side and training, that she helped us to develop. And it's been a very, very helpful tool over the year to really truly look at ourselves and think, well, we might have missed this particular metric, but we exceeded here. What did we miss? Did we not set the strategic plan appropriately? Was there a change in the market that caused something to not hit what we thought? And so it really does help you to take a look at the overall picture of the company at the end of the year.
Does that scorecard also include customer satisfaction? What kind of tools do you use as far as determining, because that obviously helps determine the growth of the business as well, customer satisfaction?
Yeah, part of our scorecard, we call it the top piece, is focused on not only employee engagement through our Gallup program that we do, but it's also customer satisfaction. And so we have a Net Promoter Score. We set what we think is the appropriate baseline, and we measure that with each loan that we close. We send out and have people that call the customer to see what their experience was like. If we have anybody that unfortunately has had an experience that is not up to what we feel the experience should be, we will try to understand that, because no one's perfect and we can always do better. And so we are very dedicated to making sure that that score can be as high as possible. And it's been over 80% for quite some time. So I'm very proud of our team. I think the service level we provide is excellent. But again, anytime we have a customer that has a question or concern, I'm happy to reach out to them and talk to them. And so that is at forefront of what we do, in addition to our employee satisfaction. And so, I think we had a stellar year last year with our employee engagement as measured by Gallup. And it's something that we're going to continue to do into the coming year, is to really focus on employee engagement and increasing that.
This is great information. And to wrap up, what would you say a business, what strategies should they look at to really get started now?
So I would definitely say you need to get going on it. But I would definitely say you must get the buy-in of your entire team. Even if you're the sole owner, you have a team that's going to be helping you. Maybe it's your CSR, maybe it's your associate advisor, maybe it's your district manager if you're in the franchise space. And so it is really important that you start working on that and you make sure that all of the people around you have a say-so and a buy-in so that you can start working on it and be truthful about where you're going and what you can really accomplish.
Thank you so much, Alicia. Really appreciate you joining me today to talk about growth plans for businesses in 2025. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you all for listening. I'm Susie McEwen, and be sure to tune in next time when we sit down with more industry leaders to bring insights to the topics you want to hear about. Thank you. Have a great day.